Hello, middle school. Today I'd like to talk to you about a sketchbook assignment that I would like all of you to try. I thought this would be a great tutorial to give you regarding using oil pastels and watercolor and using a simple pumpkin theme. You know, it's that time of year with fall and Halloween and Thanksgiving and things like this. So this is the finished project that you're going to be making, and I'm going to show you step by step on how to do this. Materials that you need, obviously paper. This is just kind of sketchbook paper, and I did do watercolor on it, and you can see it's kind of flimsy, but it will work. So your sketchbook paper would work just fine. You will need the oil pastels that I gave all of you. Colors that you're going to need: brown, yellow, black, orange, and red. Just those 5. You will also need watercolor. I'd like you to choose blue. I'd like you to work with complementary colors. Blue to orange are complementary. You're going to need a brush of some sort. I did give you guys all wider brushes in the kits that I gave you, and a cup of water. Okay, so just really basic materials. Yeah, anyway, here we go. Okay, so a fresh piece of paper. You're going to start out by drawing in your pumpkin using the red oil pastel. Now I'm kind of making like a almond shape for the center lobe. The nice thing about these pumpkins is they're organic. So they're, you know, nature, one of a kind. They don't have to be perfect. So now I'm going to make another lobe, a line for that one, and then another one out here. And you can kind of draw it in solidly, you know, apply quite a bit of pressure so we can really tell that that is red. Now I'm going to work on the other side of my pumpkin. And I'll do another one right over here. Hold on, guys. My husband needs me. Just give me a second here. Yeah? Yeah. My husband, that was my husband. He wants to borrow my van. Okay, now, next thing that you're going to need, yellow oil pastel. You're going to lay down with heavy pressure a path of yellow right in the center. Don't take it all the way out to the red, okay? You're just kind of making a little path of it. Okay, little sections of it. And if you do need to clean your oil pastels, grab like a Kleenex or a paper towel. I've said this many, many times, but some of your oil pastels might look kind of junky. So that's a good way to get them cleaned up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my orange, and I'm going to apply orange over top of the entire thing. I'm going to go over top of the red. I like to work in kind of a circular motion like this. And you'll notice when you go over these, the red and the yellow, you kind of start to blend them together. And you make the highlights and the shadows of the pumpkin. It's kind of a cool little trick. And as I get over to the yellow, I apply less pressure. I don't want to get rid of that yellow completely. Okay, now I'm going to do it to the center section. Again, a lot of pressure. Okay, now my other 2 smaller sections. I really want to get rid of all that white underneath from my paper. If the end of your oil pastel starts to look kind of like this, you can just kind of wipe it off on the paper, and then you can use that stuff that you wiped off to actually do your shading with. Sometimes too, if you go around in like a circular motion, you can kind of get rid of that stuff that builds up there too. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. So right away, I have something that looks very similar to a pumpkin. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my brown oil pastel and I'm going to put on a stem. Now you can make your stem look whatever you want it to look like. Maybe it was a really long stem or a little short one. I'm going to kind of bring them down into the lobes of the pumpkin. Again, I'm applying a heavy pressure. I really want to have strong color with this. Okay, that's it for the stem. Now I'm going to grab my black oil pastel and we're going to go around and we're going to outline. Also outline where your stem comes in to the base of the pumpkin. Okay, I'm going to go around the outside of it. I'd like to see some different line quality in your work, especially my 7th graders. You guys should know exactly what that is. Some lines that are thicker, some that are thinner. That's going to make your work much more interesting to look at. So like for this one, I think I'm going to do like a thicker line on the outside. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to do right over top of the red, but I'm going to go really lightly with a thinner line. I don't want that heavy, bold black line on top of my red because I don't want to lose that really nice blending effect that I made with the red and the orange and the yellow. Okay, so now I'm going to add on some curves. Maybe this is like kind of mimicking the vine that it was attached to. Again, I'd like to see some heavy pressure on here. And then maybe I'll do some like smaller lines to kind of give emphasis to the movement of those vines. Also going to do some over on this side. Okay, maybe I'll make that a little bit thicker right in there. Okay, then around it, I'd like to see some more lines, just kind of making a pattern, just kind of random, adding in a little bit more interest, filling up that page. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with the drawing that I've done. Now it's time for watercolor. I am done with the oil pastels. Those can get set off to the side. Okay, so what I have here, I have liquid watercolor, but the watercolor that you use that I gave you in the sets is just fine. This just happens to be what I have on hand. I really want to give emphasis to this, guys. I see a lot of the times people they don't use enough water when they're working with watercolor. I see people kind of use it like a tempera cake. So make sure that you're adding on a lot of water into your cakes. Okay? You should be able to see the water kind of sitting on top of your paper. And as you guys notice from me painting this, oil pastels and watercolor resist each other. So I can bring my watercolor right up to the edge of the pumpkin in the oil pastels, and I don't have to worry about the watercolor covering up that vibrancy because it's the oil pastels are repelling it. Kind of cool, I think. All right, so I'd like to see the entire paper filled with blue. Again, blue and orange are complementary colors. So I'd like to see these two incorporated together. And there it is. When you're done, when you're done, middle schoolers, please take a photo of it and attach it to your sketchbook assignment. This is your sketchbook assignment for the week. I'd like everybody to give it a try. So I look forward to seeing your blending techniques. And yeah, see you guys later.